Caitlin Clark just did something no player in WNBA history has ever done. Not once. Not twice. 7 times in a single season. And instead of getting more minutes for it, she watched from the bench while another player chased a stat line the whole building seemed determined to hand her. Stick with me on this one, because by the end you're going to see a box score that looks completely normal on the surface, and a decision buried inside it that still doesn't add up. Before we get into it, if you're new here, hit subscribe. This channel breaks down the moments in fever games that the box score doesn't fully explain, and this one has layers. The quarter that changed the game. Friday night at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the Indiana Fever hosted Paige Bueckers and the Dallas Wings in a game that was supposed to be about 2 of the league's brightest young stars going head-to-head. And for a while, that's exactly what it was. Then the third quarter happened. Caitlin Clark caught fire. 17 points in a single quarter. Pull-up threes, drives to the rim, step-backs from 28 feet, the kind of stretch where the defense simply stops having good answers. She wasn't just scoring, she was bending the entire Dallas defense around her, and every bend was opening something up for a teammate. And then, with about a minute and a half left in the quarter, in the middle of the hottest stretch of the game, Caitlin Clark came out. Not adjusted. Not slowed down. Out. Now, here's where we have to be honest with you, we don't have access to the Indiana coaching staff's internal reasoning. Rotations get managed for all kinds of reasons: foul trouble, load management, matchup planning for the next game. We're not going to pretend we know Stephanie White's exact thought process, and turning a rotation decision into a proven motive would be irresponsible. But we can absolutely ask the obvious question: why was the player in the middle of the most dominant stretch of the night the one walking to the bench? That's not a conspiracy. That's just watching the film. Because here's what happened next. The number nobody else has touched. Let's talk about what Caitlin Clark actually did in this game, because the final line is almost hard to believe once you put it next to WNBA history. Clark finished with 29 points and 10 assists, shooting 11 for 18 from the field. She hit 2 of 8 from 3, went 5 for 6 at the free throw line, grabbed 3 rebounds, and added a steal, all in 34 minutes. And this was the part that should stop you cold: she committed exactly 1 turnover the entire night. 1. For a player who runs an offense at Clark's usage rate, that number is almost absurd. This is a player who touches the ball on nearly every possession, who's constantly probing, driving into traffic, and threading passes into tight windows, and she gave the ball away a single time in 34 minutes of basketball. Now here's the historical piece. According to league tracking cited by multiple outlets after the game, this was Clark's 7th game this season with at least 25 points and 10 assists. It was the 13th game of her career at that combined level. No other player in WNBA history has more than 6 games like that, total, across an entire career. Clark has already doubled that, and she's still adding to it. Think about that for a second. That's not a hot night. That's not a fluke stat line. That's a player operating on a level the league has genuinely never seen before, and she's still in her 2nd full season. The layups that never happened. Here's where the game gets stranger, and where the box score actually undersells what Clark did. Watch the film closely and you'll see something the official stat sheet can never capture: how many of Clark's passes led directly to good, open, makeable shots that simply didn't go in. A missed layup off a Clark assist doesn't count as an assist. It just disappears from the record, like it never happened. But it happened. Multiple times. Teammates missed point-blank looks that Clark created for them, bunnies at the rim, wide-open cuts, the kind of shots that go in on a good night. We should be careful here, because counting hypothetical assists isn't an exact science, and we're not going to hand out a made-up number just to inflate the story. A missed shot is a missed shot. But the pattern on film is real. Clark was setting the table over and over, and her teammates weren't always finishing the meal. Which means the 10 assists she officially recorded may genuinely understate how much of Indiana's offense she was directly responsible for. That's not a small distinction. Assists only get credited when the ball goes through the net. They say nothing about the quality of the chance a passer created. And on this particular night, Clark was creating a lot more offense than the number next to her name suggests. The duel everyone actually came to see. Let's not lose the other half of this story, because it deserves real credit. Paige Bueckers had a genuinely excellent night for Dallas. She matched Clark point for point with 29 of her own, adding 6 rebounds and 6 assists on a sharp 52% shooting from the field. This wasn't some one-sided mismatch where Clark faced no resistance. Bueckers made her work for every basket, and at multiple points in the game it looked like the Wings' rookie sensation might be the one controlling the outcome. There was even a signature moment between the two. Dallas tried to double-team Bueckers near the top of the key, and Clark read the pass so well she tipped it away and turned it into an easy fast-break layup in transition. Clark admitted afterward she basically baited Bueckers into that pass, acting like she was out of position when she wasn't. That's the level this game was played at. Two of the league's most talked about guards, going shot for shot, until Indiana's depth started to take over in the second half. The streak everyone was watching. Now let's get to Kelsey Mitchell, because her role in this game is exactly what fueled the debate that followed. Mitchell finished with 23 points on 9 for 21 shooting, including just 1 for 7 from behind the arc. That box score line represents a real milestone, a franchise record 18th straight game with 20 or more points, an incredible run of consistent scoring that deserves recognition on its own. But the efficiency tells a different story than the raw total. 9 makes on 21 attempts is a lot of volume for that many points, and the three-point shooting was clearly off. Meanwhile, Mitchell stayed on the floor through long stretches of the second half, the same stretches where Clark, fresh off her 17-point quarter, was sitting. We want to be fair here. Wanting a player to reach a milestone isn't automatically wrong, and coaches manage minutes for dozens of legitimate reasons we simply don't have visibility into from outside the building. But when the player producing the most dominant stretch of the night is the one who comes out, and the player chasing a personal scoring streak is the one who stays in, it's not unreasonable for fans watching at home to connect those two facts. That's not an accusation. That's just pattern recognition, and it's exactly the kind of moment that keeps a fan base talking for days. Why this matters for the MVP conversation. This is where the game stops being just about one night and starts being about the bigger picture, who is actually the most valuable player on this Indiana roster. The case for Mitchell rests almost entirely on scoring. She can get hot and carry stretches of games by herself, and an 18-game streak of 20-plus points is a legitimately rare accomplishment in this league. But the case against her being the singular engine of this team is built on everything else. Clark's stat line from this game, 29 points, 10 assists, 3 rebounds, a steal, and just 1 turnover, reflects a player affecting almost every phase of the game. She's not just scoring. She's organizing possessions, drawing extra defenders, opening driving lanes, and making the players around her better. Bueckers, on the other side, put up a similarly complete line, 29 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. That's the modern standard for what a franchise guard is expected to provide. Mitchell's game, by contrast, is more one-dimensional. When the jumper is falling, she's a matchup nightmare. When it's not, there's less for her to fall back on. That doesn't make her scoring runs any less real or any less valuable to Indiana, it just changes what kind of value she's providing compared to a player doing 4 or 5 things at an elite level every single night. The supporting cast made this possible. None of this happens without the rest of the roster showing up, and a few performances deserve real attention. Aaliyah Boston finished with 16 points and 10 rebounds, another double-double in a season full of them. Even though her finishing at the rim was inconsistent in stretches, several of those missed point-blank looks connect directly back to Clark's playmaking numbers being lower than they probably should have been. Off the bench, Tyasha Harris was close to perfect, hitting 5 of 5 from three-point range for 15 points. That kind of shooting completely changes the math for an opposing defense. Dallas couldn't afford to load extra bodies toward Clark when a bench guard was burying every three she looked at. Put it all together, and Indiana walked away with a 98-87 win, moving to 22-12 on the season and reclaiming the top spot in the Eastern Conference. It's the kind of win that looks clean on paper, but as we've spent this whole video showing you, the story underneath the final score is a lot more complicated. What this game really tells us. Strip away the box score for a second and look at what actually happened on the floor. Clark took over a quarter, got pulled at the height of it, and still finished with a stat line that's only ever been matched by nobody. Not once in league history has any other player reached 25 and 10 as many times as she has this season alone. Mitchell kept the historic scoring streak alive. Bueckers matched Clark shot for shot in a genuine star duel. And Indiana found enough from its bench and its interior to close the door in the fourth quarter. The rotation question from earlier in this video is still sitting there, unanswered, and honestly, it might stay that way. We don't get a locker room explanation for every substitution pattern, and pretending otherwise would be dishonest. What we do have is the film, the box score, and a pattern that's now shown up more than once this season. Clark heats up, gets pulled, and the conversation about why immediately follows her off the floor. The next test comes fast. Indiana faces Atlanta with real conference positioning on the line, and if this level of production keeps repeating itself, the questions swirling around this rotation, and around who's actually carrying this team, are only going to get louder. So here's the real question we want to leave you with: is Caitlin Clark's stat line simply too complete to argue against right now, or does Kelsey Mitchell's historic scoring streak still give her a legitimate case in this conversation? Drop your take in the comments, we read every single one. And if this breakdown helped you see the game a little differently, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give this video a like before you go. We've got more of these coming every time Indiana takes the floor, and you don't want to miss the next one.